I don't care if it's a week, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? LeBron James. That's who y'all got to start appreciating. And you got to stop disrespecting this man. You got A.J. Brown, who's a legit number one, and you got Julio, who's a legit number one. One of them dudes got to get double teamed. Who gonna get double teamed? And whoever gets double teamed, the other one gets the ball. I'm saying this with no pun intended, with full of pride. What it do, baby? It is your boy Pride holding it down. As always, welcome to another episode of the Prideful Takes podcast. Like I always said, it is the one, the only. It is your boy Pride, and we have a great show. Again, it's gonna be me again, just me. I know my voice gonna get it. My voice will get annoying, so I promise I won't bother your attention for too long. We got rumors about a whole expansion. We got more Russ drama, and I mean Russell Wilson, not Westbrook. But before we get to all that, the Suns are back, right? They've started 1-3. They were looking rough for a whole minute. Now all of a sudden they're on a 13-game streak. I genuinely believe that the Suns right now are being slept on, and they're being slept on real bad. I don't know what it is. I'm assuming that they thought that because, you know, when Chris Paul went back, I'm assuming people just thought, oh, yeah, he just did it for the money. Because, at the time, the Suns were the only team that could have paid him, what he wanted, right? And we all know that. So a lot of people expected, when he went back, he kind of was going to dog it. They started 1-3, and they kind of picked it up. They picked it up. Now a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh my God, it's easy because of the team." And here I'm under the whole notion. Even if you have an easy schedule, at the end of the day, you need to go out and handle your business. That's all it really comes down to. That's exactly what the Suns have been doing. They've been handling their business. Like I just don't. Excuse me. I don't understand why. Because again, and I'll be honest. I don't think that the Suns, are gonna win it this year. But they are proving they're at the bare minimum a threat to win it. Like they're not trying to, they're not trying to be like, oh yeah, we were flash in the pan. Chris Paul, he's giving you 13 points on 47% shooting, 31% from three. So, they're both all right. But he's doing this as the third option. That's something people don't really understand. Right now he's at 10 over 10 assists. He's giving you a double. And in terms of rebounding, he's giving you a solid 4 rebounds. So he's doing this as the third option. Let that sink in. Like Chris Paul is not really out here he's not trying to do what he did before where it's just, I'm gonna take it over or whatever. He's letting the young guys, one young guy in specific, Devin Booker. He's letting them carry the load. He's letting them be the thing. And speaking of Devin Booker, he's giving a respectable 22 points per game. The only issue is the efficiency. It's 43%. But at the same time, he's gonna be a bucket. 38% from three. So you're willing to live with that. In terms of the rebounding, he's giving you about 5 rebounds and 5 assists. So solid stat line, 22, 5 and 5, not bad at all. Again, especially when you really consider this team, even though Devin Booker obviously clearly is their star, there's no debate about that. But when you have, other guys who can step up, you're not really just it's not how it was before where it was, Booker or bust. It's not like that anymore. You got guys who can step up. Obviously, you have Chris Paul at the table. And then you have DeAndre Jordan, who's giving you 16 points off 63% from the floor. And his free throw percentage really ain't bad. It's all right. It's at 60. He has the potential to bring it back up. I'm not going to poo-poo on, be too hard on him, but he's giving you 12 rebounds. So Chris Paul is giving you a double-double with points and assists. DeAndre is giving you a double-double with points and rebounds. So defensively, they're starting to click. They're all, again, it was only the first 4 games. They knew we were gonna be fine. We're gonna be okay. We just need to understand that, we haven't arrived yet. And that kind of was the problem a little bit. A lot of the young guys kind of played like, oh yeah, we've arrived. And that was a problem. It really was. That's not something you need to do, especially if you have it. Winning the finals is impressive. Don't get it twisted. It really is. But doing that, then afterwards, just you lose the finals and think you made it, and all of a sudden you're that team. No, you need to worry, especially the way Golden State has been playing. Dallas is not going to go anywhere regardless. Portland, regardless if you like them or not, they're still going to be a playoff team who could potentially upset somebody. I'm looking at it the way, the Nuggets, you know what I mean? Like, Jamal Murray is still rehabbing, but when he gets back on that floor, it's going to be a problem. Jokic is probably going to be out for a few games, but when he comes back, again, problem. So I just think what happened, they kind of hit this lull where they kind of genuinely believe, yep, we're here. This is us. We handled our business. We won, et cetera, et cetera. And again, it's okay to feel that way. It is. I'm not mad at them for feeling that way. The only thing I'm really worried about is when you start feeling like that way for a long period of time. They felt like that for 4 games, snapped out of it on a 13-game streak, and then here's their next 5. They are on a 3-game road trip at Cavaliers, at Knicks, at Brooklyn. Then after that, the next 2 games are home at against the Warriors and against the Pistons. So you have against the Cavs, who've been playing decently. They're a decent team. The Knicks, another decent team. Then you got Brooklyn and Golden State back to back. That will be tough. It's gonna be. I believe they lose to the Warriors and Brooklyn. I think it's gonna be close games. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout or anything like that. I think, like I said, I think they lose back to back. I think what happens is they lose to Brooklyn. Close game, very close, and it's kind of like a dagger. They go home. Then Golden State obviously has been playing out of this world. They've been playing phenomenally, so I think they lose there. Then after those 5 games, their next 2, and the reason I'm bringing up these 2 is because the next one, it's a home game against Pistons. Then they go and play the Warriors on the road. So it's going to be interesting to see if they lose that first game of the Warriors, how are they going to bounce back? But this team so far, they're fine. They're clicking at the right time. They're doing what they need to do. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not they can continue this, because obviously I don't think they can break the record for the win streak. But I do believe they'll lose a couple, but then they'll get back on another streak. I do like what the leadership Chris Paul is bringing to them, and not only that, his leadership is starting to trickle down. It's trickling down to the point where now, you got DeAndre Ayton starting to find his voice a little bit. D-Book, instead of just yelling, now he's encouraging guys. CP3's influence, it's really starting to go down. And when I say go down, I mean down to everybody, to the point where, it's starting to make sure that everyone's kind of on track. They're doing their thing, et cetera, et cetera. But I will say this. The Suns are on the right course. I believe we are sleeping on them, and we should pay more attention to them, because if we really sit down and think about it, these guys, 100%, they're legit. Before I move on to the next topic, today's games: Lakers at Pacers, Hornets at Magic, Suns at Cavs, Nets at Celtics, Wizards at Pelicans, Bulls at Rockets, Heat at Timberwolves, Jazz at Thunder, Pistons at Bucks, Raptors at Grizzlies, Hawks at Spurs, 76ers at Warriors, and the Trailblazers go to Sacramento to play the Kings. Some solid games here. For instance, the Celtics and Nets, I think that'll be a good game. We'll get to see if the Celtics finally turn things around or if it was just a fluke. Suns and Cavaliers, it's going to be very interesting to see if the Suns can continue their win streak. I'm going to like that one a lot. Another game that I think is kind of flying a little bit under the radar, just a little bit. Ooh, excuse me, just a little bit. I'm gonna go Heat and Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves will get the win. Maybe it's just me, but teach their own. Russell Wilson, that dude, he's got to get out, right? Look, they're gonna be under 500. If I'm not mistaken, I think for the first time since he's been the starting quarterback. Seattle is anyway. For the first time since Russell Wilson was the starter. Yep, his 2012 was when he first got the ball. 11-5, 3-13, 12-4, 10-6, 10-5-1, 9-7, 10-6, 11-5, 12-4. It's looking like the Seahawks might end up under 1,200, and I genuinely believe this is where Russ will get fed up and will finally demand it. He'll demand this trade. He'll want out. And the reason I'm saying this is because look, last year there were rumors about Russ wanting to leave, right? Like there was a whole bunch of he might, there's 4 teams, that he wanted to go play for. You don't leak something like that out unless you legit wanted to get out. Let's just call it what it is, right? The 4 teams that he wanted to go to were the Saints, the Cowboys, the Bears, and the Raiders. Now, even at that time, the Saints made no sense because they won't be able to afford him. Same with Dallas. They want to go forward with Dak Prescott. The Bears and Raiders at the time kind of made some sense because there was the Bears in terms of quarterback were in hell. But again, at the same time, that made no sense whatsoever because their line was horrible. Kind of the same thing with Carson Wentz. Why would you leave the Eagles to go to Chicago where the line is even worse than what you had? And that is Russell Wilson's biggest gripe. Like, you guys aren't really protecting me. So, again, the Bears didn't make sense. So a lot of people thought it was the Raiders because it made sense for both teams because that for both parties involving Russ and the Raiders. Because a lot of people thought the Raiders was going to get Derek Carr out. A lot of people didn't forget this. Before all of a sudden people started giving Derek Carr his respect, a lot of people genuinely believed that he was on his way out. They thought he was going to be traded. So at the time it made sense. And when you go and say that, these are the 4 teams, and you have that leaked, you look different now, because again, you're not looking like, let's see how it plays. When you leak something like that out, that means you're not only have you thought about this, not only you thought about leaving, you thought about who you will go to, and then to have it leaked. And mind you, that happened, and they were just 12-4. They were 12-4. So to all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, they're 12-4, and then think them going under 500 is gonna keep him. That's ridiculous. And again, I'm not trying to be that guy, but at the same time, let's really think about it. 12-4. That was, in terms of his starting, that is their second, that is tied for their second best year ever. I'm talking and during his tenure. There was one more year, his third year in 2014, they went 12-4, and then the year before that, they went 13-3. So, do we really think that going under 500 is going to really help him? And I understand he missed some time with that whole finger thing, which, by the way, freaked me out. He missed week 6, 7, 8, and 9. So he missed 4 weeks. He missed a month of football. But ever since he's come back, he doesn't look right. For instance, at Green Bay, they got shut out 17-0. 20 for 40, 50% completion, 161 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Got sacked 3 times. Next, after that, they played Arizona, lost 23-13. At least they scored. 14-26, 53%. That's better. 207 yards. That's better. 0 interceptions. That's better. 0 touchdowns. Russ has yet to score a touchdown since he came back. So he understands, this is not really what I signed up for. This is ridiculous. This is totally ridiculous. The next game, they play at Washington, then home against San Francisco, and then at Houston. Historically, he doesn't really do that good against Washington. In the 3 games he played for them, his average 20 for 32, solid 206 yards, about a touchdown, and a pick. If you look down to the 49ers, his on average 18 for 28, 207, 1 touchdown, half a pick, not bad. Now Houston, 19 for 32, 288 yards, 2 TDs and a pick. Right now, Russ is in this weird spot where he's probably going to dip, and if he goes, there's going to be a couple spots that he's going to consider. There's going to be a few. First and foremost, one of the places he should heavily consider the Green Bay Packers. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, insert Russell Wilson, and dare I say they'll be right back to where they were. They'll be fine. I genuinely be in my heart they'll be okay. Because you still have Russell Wilson, who's still smart, who knows it, with a solid line. He's got weapons, a good defense. I mean, if I'm Russ, that's the first place I'm looking. I'm gonna wait to see what happens if Aaron leaves. I'm sliding right in there. What's up, Rio? And you said Pete Carroll is effing delusional. He is, and I'm gonna explain why he's delusional. I'm gonna explain why. The reason he is delusional is because for some unknown reason, he genuinely believes that he still has the Legion of Boom. This is a horrible defense. Outside of Jamal Adams, let's call it what it is. Outside of Jamal Adams, they don't really have much. And even then, people don't like Jamal Adams like that. In terms of their defense, they are currently ranked in the bottom half of defense. They're just not. They're okay. Even okay, I feel like that's kind of being a little. I feel like that's being a little too nice. They're horrible, and that's just really how it is. The Seahawks, they're starting to become trash. Let's call it what it is. Rio said, with a beautiful, that'd be beautiful. A mobile quarterback like Russ would do phenomenal. It would, because at the same time, not only is he able to make things happen, but you ready to hear the best part about it? He's smart with his mobility. He don't run every play. No. He knows when he needs to run, but he always loves to throw the ball. And then Rio, piggybacking off when he said Pete Carroll's delusional, he can't admit when his teams makes mistakes. They won't get any better doing that. I'm assuming that he tells them this stuff behind closed doors. That's my assumption. But at the same time, I can't really assume that because the corrections aren't being made. So if the corrections aren't being made, either A, the locker room don't believe in him, which I don't believe at all, or B, he's just not saying anything. It's got to be one or the other. And then Rio says Adams is the most overrated safety in the league. I agree. Now, I don't think he's trash. Having him with that safety blitz, he's phenomenal. I love it. Problem is, in coverage, he sometimes does get exposed. And as a safety, you need to be able to cover. That's why Tyrann Mathieu, that's why he's considered the best. Because not only can he come off the blitz, not only can he hit you hard, not only can he run the zone, play zone and see where things are going. There are times that they have had him straight up be a corner and play actual plays against a receiver. When you have that type of flexibility, they like that. You're considered legit. Rio says pretty bummed out to the Packers. This banged up injury-wise towards the end of the season. It does suck. It does. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's horrible that this ended up happening to them at this point. Now a lot of the injuries, we're heading into the second half of the season. I think they'll be okay though. I think they'll be able to come into the point that they'll be healthy with like 4 games left in the season, which will then kind of help them build a little bit of momentum. I don't think they're screwed just yet, but they should be a little worried because some of these injuries, they're not looking so good. But going back to Russ, not only do I think the Packers, another place I would actually heavily consider, I would consider the New York Giants. And mind you, I'm talking about all this from a football point of view. I'm not saying this in any way, shape, or form. By and by the way, Rio, I have the Rams. I got the Rams by a touchdown. I got the Rams by a touchdown. There's a lot of question marks for the Packers. And I usually do my pick'em stuff like before, like for instance, like tonight, I'm dropping my pick'em tonight with all the info I have right now. So if tomorrow things change, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But as of right now, based on things are going, I'm gonna give it to the Rams. But we won't really truly get a bigger picture till tomorrow. But Russ and the Giants, I think, would make some sense. And that's something I do think he should consider because I do like they have a solid line. They have a solid running back in Saquon. They got Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney, Evan Ingram. That's a good tight end. So I think that's one thing I would also look for. And then another, you could say probably dark horse team that should really be considering the 49ers. If the 49ers cannot get Russ, or I'm sorry, if they can't get Aaron Rodgers, they should start looking at Russell Wilson. Another team that perhaps Denver, a lot of people did say Denver. I don't know if it'll fit, but I do think that he definitely does have some type of options out there. What's going on with Pete Carroll? Is he on the downfall? Yes and no. Now, defensively, yes, he is. But here's the problem. The problem is, in order for him to have the Legion of Boom, he needs that personnel, and he doesn't have it. Problem is, he wants to try to force the pieces he has right now. He wants to try to force those pieces to be the Legion of Boom. You can't do that. You just can't. The Legion of Boom, all of them, they were talented. They all knew that. Not only were they talented, but they all knew their role. They knew their role and they performed and they did their roles exceptionally. You don't really have anyone here who can do that. I mean, the only remnant left, I think, is Bobby Wagner. That's really it. He's really the only remnant from that era. And the problem is back then, you had Bobby Wagner, Cam Chancellor, and Richard Sherman. That kind of was the core, right? Now, if you name me what corner is gonna fill that role Richard Sherman has? Who's gonna fill the Cam Chancellor role? But it's gonna be interesting. Rio, off topic, but your boy Sean Brady stock skyrocketed. Kaz not calling him out. I told people this. If Sean Brady beats Michael Chiesa, me and my boy Sean Brady, we're going Sizzler. And I'm telling you, I've had nothing. And look, I've been telling people this from the beginning. Sean Brady, pay attention to him. Pay attention to him. I'm telling people, and they were like, no, he's ranked number 14th. It doesn't matter. Blah 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 blah. Nope. Now he went from one fight. He went from ranked 14th to 8th. Jorge Masvidal went up 1, and Neil Magny went up 1. And then Michael Chiesa dropped 3 to number 9. At this point, if I'm Sean Brady, and I know Kevin called him, I understand that, but if I'm Sean Brady, I want a top 5 dude. That's just me. After dominating, and again, he dominated Michael Chiesa. It's not like it was just, oh yeah, he beat him. He dominated him. So 110%. His Sean Brady's stock is skyrocketing. I want to see him against the top 5 dude. Let's see if he can keep that momentum. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. If he beats anyone, I don't care if it's Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Vincente Luque, Leon Edwards. I don't care if it's Kobe Covington. I don't care if he beats anyone in the top 5. He's going to straight up say, I want a title shot. I deserve it. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I have no beefs, quarrels, or anything with him saying he deserves it. I'll tell you right now, 100%, I think he deserves it. The NFL wants to expand to 40 teams. Now, at first that sounds stupid until you sit down and realize there's 50 states. That is not a joke, by the way. Like, I've seen a lot of people mad about this, and I'm like, hold on, bro. Like, relax. Thanks for the reminder, Rio. So I will be on in the morning show. So if you have any, UFC questions, you can throw them up there. I'll probably answer a few during the morning show. But in terms of the Throwing Hands podcast, we're not going to be on tomorrow. I completely and utterly forgot that it was Thanksgiving. So last week when I said it, I forgot this was Thanksgiving. And then when I started talking to Landon, he told me I'm going to be out for Thanksgiving. I was like, ooh. So I will be on in the morning, but in terms of throwing hands, we will not be on. And do you like Rio asked, do you like the idea of Canada getting a team? We will get there. I'm going to give you guys my three cities or places that should get a team. First and foremost, Rio, I hate you. You stole it from me, Toronto. That's my number 3. I do want Toronto. I do want Canada to have an NFL team. I think that's interesting. I think it's unique. I would like it if we could. Rio goes, oh, poop, I forgot Thanksgiving tomorrow 2 time flies. It flies like crazy. I'm telling you, man, it flies like crazy. But I do want to see one in Toronto. Now, the CFL league is up there. And I genuinely believe wholeheartedly that the CFL and the NFL have some sort of deal going on. That they kind of were like, you know what, we'll stay here, you guys stay there, and it is what it is. Because Canada, and Rio, I was just about to say that, Canada has great talent. They got great talent. And not only in the linemen, but, offensively, defensively, linebackers, defensive end, they have talent, and they have their own league. So that's kind of what I don't think it will ever be in a position to be in Toronto. When I say we, I'm talking about the National Football League. I don't think we'll be in Toronto because, like I said, I wholeheartedly believe that there's some deal going on. And when I look at this, and again, maybe I'm bugging, maybe I'm crazy. Like, for all I know, I could just be reading too deep into it. But there's no way. The last time we had the expansion, I think it was like 2002. And we had the opportunity to do that, but why didn't we? Like, that's kind of my whole thing. In a perfect world, Toronto, I would love to see it, especially considering if you got an NBA team up there, imagine the partnerships you could do with something like that. It would be utterly amazing. So when it comes to me, like, I think I'm giving Toronto, I think they should have it. Number 2, by the way, of all the 3 teams the 3 places I named, don't have a team, right? Don't have a team. Number 3, and this one maybe is just me being corny. Can we put some respect on Hawaii? Can we put some respect on Hawaii? That's all I'm asking. Look, Hawaii, unfortunately, has always looked like and yes, before I forget, Stan Kroenke, yes, he won. If I'm not mistaken, that lawsuit, I think it was like almost $800 million settlement, which he one big Oreo. That doesn't even scratch the tip of the iceberg. My guy can retire 10 times over. Now, he's good. So he won big. Congratulations to him. Hawaii, I will say this. Oh, my neck. I will say this with Hawaii. Um, I understand it's kind of its own island, but if I genuinely believe if you put a team out in Hawaii, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. Mind you, a lot of people in Hawaii have been clamoring for their own team because a lot of times the people in Hawaii, they do want to see, they want to go to a stadium. What kind of sucks a little bit is the fact that they always have to travel here. And again, it kind of sucks saying travel here when they're part of the country, but since they're kind of away, kind of same thing with Alaska, right? Like they're kind of like they're here, but they're not here. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Like you can hop in a car and just drive. You know what I mean? I'm in South Carolina, right? I could drive to California, right? You can't drive to Hawaii. You feel me? And if you want to drive to Alaska, you gotta go through like a checkpoint and basically go in a whole other country. So I do think Hawaii would be a nice place. And the last place, let's just put something in London, goddammit. If we're gonna go there every single year, right? Like in the last 6 years, the Jacksonville Jaguars have been the home team when they go. But the last 6 times they went over to London, they've been considered the home team. And not only that, they actually sell out. They sell out the Jags. The Jacksonville Jaguars were dog shit. They sell out in London. And they're shit. And they sell out. They don't even sell out their own. They don't even sell out their own home arena in Jacksonville. And they're selling out in London. If that is not commitment from the fan base over in London, like Ariel said, in terms of Hawaii, them Samoans been on the come up for years. Lots of time. Yes, yes. These, I'm telling you right now, Samoans. I'm telling you, they're legitimately tough guys. That's why a lot of Samoan guys, you see them play defense because they love that stuff. Real with another comment said, imagine a damn stadium in London with 70,000 fans. UK would definitely support their own NFL team. Let that sink in. 70,000. They will sell out for a dog shit team in Jacksonville. Imagine what they would do if the NFL gave them a team of their own. Let that sink in. They will support teams that are they made the game rowdy when it was this year the Dolphins against the Jags. They made it rowdy and they made it fun. They kept the energy up. Those aren't their teams. Imagine what they would do. The energy, the passion, the love, the drive they would have if they literally could have their own team. Let that sink in. And we're already flirting with the idea. We have like what, a couple games out in London. There was one time we had like what, 4 games in London? So it's like, if we're gonna do that, why not put a team out there? I mean, that's just me. That's just the way I'm looking at it. Like, you know, if we're just gonna have everybody in Toronto, if we're just gonna have, you know, if we're gonna have put a game out there almost every year, and the fans are out there showing genuine support, let's reward them. Let's reward them. And honestly, I wouldn't have any issue with it. I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be angry. I would nothing, because at the end of the day, if you really want to expand on the places you know. That's how I look at it. And right now, the NFL is very comfortable with London. They're very comfortable with London, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. You threw some dog shit games out there. They sold out and they were cheering. And they had that energy. So if I'm the NFL, I genuinely believe it's time to reward them and give them their own team. Follow us on Twitter at Prideful Takes. Not only do I put up news and all that stuff, but I love talking to people. So if you guys see something you guys want me to talk about on the show, feel free, tag me in it, and I'll look at it. And if I can put it on the show, I will. Catch us on Facebook at Prideful Takes. I go live on Facebook, and I also be putting things up like my pick'ems and my the watch alongs, all that stuff. And if you don't have a Facebook, that's fine. Follow us on YouTube at Prideful Takes. I go live on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. Words are hard for me. Visit our website, www.pridefultakes.com. Not only is every episode of the podcast up there, but we also have original articles. And check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Prideful Takes Podcast. As always, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy Pride. I will see you guys on Friday. Be safe.
Knew where that was going. That was a great read.
Oh, Lillard from the logo. That'll quiet the
2 on the season. 2nd and 1 for the Bills. They handle the rush. Allen looking. End zone!
To Shohei Ohtani. Center field. Let's watch it go. Did several of those inside low kicks.